Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here or if you don't know me, I'm Jessica Lily and I like to do makeup tutorials and share my passion and love for makeup with you all here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, then make sure you've hit the subscribe button down below and be sure to press on the bell to notify you every time I upload a video so you will never miss an upload again. So for today's look, I really wanted to do a drugstore affordable makeup look, and I love the way this look has turned out. I wanted to show you that just because products are cheaper does not mean that they're not up to scratch. Some of the drugstore makeup I actually prefer and I tend to use over others. It's just finding the products that really work for you. And I have created this whole look today using all drugstore makeup, all affordable makeup, and I love the way it has turned out. So if you'd like to see how I created this look, then please keep watching. I'm going in with my number 7 Airbrush Away primer. And I'm just popping this on with my fingers, so focusing it more in the T-zone and then just bringing that out. And this makes your skin feel so velvety soft. It just blurs any imperfections and leaves the skin looking flawless as well. Next, I'm taking my L'Oreal Glow Cherie, and this is in the shade Medium. So I'm just squirting a bit onto the back of my hand, and I'm picking up my Morphe flat top buffing brush and I'm just going to dip that in. And then I'm going to apply this all over my face as my base. That rhymes. And this just gives like a lovely natural glow to the skin. Now I'm taking my Maybelline Dream Urban Cover, and this says it's a full coverage to lightweight protective makeup, and this is in the shade 128 Warm Nude. So again, I'm just taking a bit and popping it onto the back of my hand. Picking up the same brush, my Morphe flat top buffing brush, I'm just going to apply that over my face like little dabbing motions. And my neck as well. And then I'm really going to buff that into the skin, just going in small circular motions. Don't forget, we want to bring it out to the ear as well, because we don't want our ear and face looking different shade. So this foundation is definitely more of like a liquidy consistency. I would say it's more of a satin natural finish, and it's also very buildable, so you can really build the coverage up, which I like. Again, my little baby hairs getting in the way. It looks really nice on the skin. I really like Maybelline foundations. I just find they blend well, they have good colour range in them as well, so you're never stuck for a colour. And for the price, you really can't go wrong. So now that my foundation is done, I'm going to move on to concealer. So today I'm taking the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Liquid Concealer, and this is in the shade Light. So it has the spongy applicator top, and you twist it like this. And I'm going to apply it down the sides of my nose and in the inner corner here. A little bit going up on my smile lines, and then just doing the same on the other side. Then I'm just taking some on my forehead and bringing it down the centre of the nose, and also I want to go over my chin, so making like a T sort of shape there. I'm just going to pop a little bit onto my eyelids as well. Now I'm picking up my 120 circular concealer brush, and this is actually from Primark, but I honestly love it. It's just such a soft brush and it's really good quality, especially for Primark, so I'm so impressed by this brush. So now I'm just buffing my concealer in. And I do this by going in round circular motions into the skin. And you really want to make sure there's no lines. It needs to be all smooth and really blended. So now I'm going to move on to contour, and I'm taking this LA Pro Girl concealer, and this is in the shade Toast. So it's got the brush applicator and it's a squeezy tube. So I'm squeezing a little bit out, and I'm just going to start on my cheekbones here. And you see how I just bring it up almost like a smile line. This is going to lift your cheeks up rather than pull them down. I then focus on my jaw, a little bit under my lips, on my forehead, as I like my forehead to appear smaller, so I always do on my forehead. And then I'm also going to do just a line here and repeat on the other side as well. And now I'm going to go on to nose contour, so I'm just drawing a straight line down the sides of my nose. And honestly, this concealer is so good for contouring, especially in the shade. Now I'm going to pick up my Real Techniques buffing brush, and I'm just going to buff that all into the skin. So just very gently to buff over the contour. We don't want to buff it away, so just do this quite lightly with a light, gentle hand over the top. But make sure it's blended because we don't want any harsh lines. I really like the LA Pro Girl concealer for contouring, just because I find it's the perfect shade of brown for your contour. It's not too grey and it's not too warm either. So I always tend to go for this shade Toast. And it's super affordable as well, which is amazing. So I like to do a little bit under my lower lip, as this creates a poutier sort of look without the overlining, and you get the effect of bigger lips, so it's a win-win. So I'm just buffing it in, and I really make sure I'm going into the hairline as well, because you don't want that white line showing. Now I'm picking up my Real Techniques, and I think this is actually supposed to be an eyeshadow brush. So it's like a small buffing brush but for eyes, but I actually use it for my nose contour and my eye contour here as well. So I'm just lightly going over where I've been. So with my nose contour, I'm just going to sort of press it on top, because we don't want to move the contour around too much. I want it to stay in that same place. So I'm just sort of dabbing it into the skin. So now I'm picking up my Real Techniques blender sponge, and this is so soft, it's amazing. So I'm just going over everything we've done, just to make sure everything is nice and blended. Now I'm picking up my Revlon Skin Lights, and this is in the colour Sunkissed Beam. So I'll just show you what it looks like because it's so beautiful. So I'm taking my Morphe angled contour brush and I'm just going to swirl it around in my Revlon bronzer. Just applying that anywhere I would naturally catch the sun. So any high points of the face and my jaw as well. This bronzer is so lovely. It applies like a dream and the colour is just so beautiful. So I'm just pressing that into the skin. And also going under my chin and on my neck as well. If you haven't used this bronzer yet, I'm telling you, you need to go out and buy it because it's honestly amazing. I love it. It doesn't look muddy on the skin and it really gives like a lovely natural bronzy finish. Now I'm taking my Rosie Huntington Whiteley translucent powder, and this is from M&S, so I know it's not really like a drugstore product, but I like the way it applies to the skin. I like the finish it gives as well, so I thought why not include it in today's video. So picking up my Morphe brush, I'm just going into my powder and just dabbing a little bit. It comes with like the mesh top, so you have to just make sure you haven't got too much on your brush, as we want to build the product up. We don't want to put a load on and then have to restart our makeup again. So I always make sure I pick up a little bit up, tap off the excess and then apply. And I'm just applying this to my under eye just to set it. I don't want to go crazy with baking because I want this to look like nice and natural. So I bring it up to here on my nose and then just apply it really where we've applied any concealer. And then a little bit on my chin as well. And also I'm just dusting any excess that's left on the brush over my eyelids just to set that concealer in place so it's ready for the eyeshadow. Now I'm taking my Revolution XXX, and this is the focus highlighter. This is honestly such a lovely highlighter, and I've got the shade Focus, so it's a lovely champagne-y colour. So I'm picking up my Real Techniques brush, and this is the tiny, I suppose you would call it a smudger brush. And first of all I'm going to do my nose, so I'm just going down the centre of my nose. And now what I like to do is take my finger and blend that in. I'm going to take my Real Techniques brush. This is the Duo Fibre Contour Brush, but I'm going to use it to put my highlight on, so just dipping it into my highlight and just applying it on my cheekbones. You really don't need a lot at all, like such a little goes such a long way, and it just gives the like most beautifulest champagne shimmer. You can even pop like some of the excess just on your forehead, just above your like arch of your brow bone. I find that gives a nice natural shimmery glow to the skin. Now I'm going to move on to blusher, and I'm taking my Rimmel Trio blusher. So it has these lovely pink shades. Now I'm just going to use my Morphe powder brush, and I'm going to dip it into this top shade here. So now I'm going to be taking my Maybelline in the Nudes palette. So I absolutely love the shades in here. You've got your more neutral colours, some darker tones and some shimmery ones as well. So for my base, I'm just taking this lighter colour here and I'm just going to apply this all over my lid. So this just gives a lovely base for our shadows. Because I'm going to be doing lots of drama with the flick, I don't want too many colours going on, so I'm going to keep the base quite neutral. So once we've got our base shade in place, I'm just going over what we've done with this pale shade here, and I'm just dusting that over the top, just to take away from a little bit of that shimmer it leaves us, just to sort of mattify it slightly. Now I'm just taking this shade here, so this neutral brownie tone, and I'm just applying this at the outer edge, and then I'm bringing it into my crease. Remember, we want to keep all of this bit really light. Just going in with my Real Techniques brush again. I'm just going back in to this paler shade here, and again just applying that over the top to blend it all in. And now I'm grabbing my Real Techniques angled brush and I'm dipping it into this dark black shade here, and then dusting off any residue left on the brush, as we don't want any fallout. And I'm really focusing this on the lash line. And I'm just repeating on the other side. Don't worry about blending yet. You just want the basic line going across your lash line. So it should look like this at the moment. Now I'm taking my Morphe, and this is actually an eyebrow brush, but it's slightly smaller, which will be better for us to do the flick here. So I'm just going back into the black shade, and little flicky motions, I'm just applying this upwards. So we have that nice flick like that. Now I'm going to bring it more into the corner here. And keeping my eye open, I'm just focusing it on the inner corner there. Also need to make sure they are symmetrical. So keep going back and having a look. If you find one's longer than the other, you can always just go back over the other one and correct it. I'm just going to wet the end of my brush. So I'm using my Morphe setting mist, and I'm just going to spray a little bit onto a tissue. And then I'm just dabbing my brush into that wet tissue. And then I'm dipping it back into the black. And it just makes the eyeshadow slightly more intense. So I'm just really building the intensity up of this black shade onto my lid. Now I'm taking my Real Techniques brush, and this is my small buffing brush, and I'm just going to go over that and blend that out, especially at this outer edge here. I'm picking up my Morphe pencil brush, and underneath I'm going to go in with this brownie shade here. And I'm just applying that all underneath my eye. I'm just going into this matte brown shade here, and I'm just focusing it on top of the black shade we've done. And then I'm just blending that in. Then I'm taking a tissue and I'm just going to wipe off any excess we have on that brush. Now taking my Real Techniques brush again, I'm going in with the lightest shade, what we used at the beginning, and I'm just bringing this from the center outwards. Now I just want to make sure this is all blended, so I'm going over with a clean brush and just blending that all in. Now I'm taking my Morphe pencil brush and I'm just dipping it into this lighter shade here. And I'm just using this in the inner corner of my eyes and on my brow bone as well. So where we've smoked out the black, I'm just going to intensify the colour. So I'm taking my Real Techniques brush, dipping it into that black shade, and I'm just going over the top of it once more, just to really make sure that's nice and dark. Keeping it really close to the lash line. Now I'm picking up my Maybelline liquid liner, and this is the Hyper Precise All Day liquid liner. So it's like a felt tip pen, and I find this amazing because it's just so precise. The tip is so thin and it gives a lovely colour payoff as well. This is in the shade Matte ONYX, just because I find that more intense than the original black formula. Now I'm just going to go over where we've been with the black, but just keeping it close to the lash line as possible. And I'm also bringing it in here. Then I draw a line on the outer edge and I just join those lines up and then fill in this area here. So that just intensifies the black even more. That one's slightly thicker, so I'm just going to go over this one. So now taking my black with my Real Techniques brush, I'm just going back into the black, going over the top, and I just want to make sure that's all blended together, as I don't want any harsh lines. I want this to be like smoky. Focusing it more on the edges, just so you have that nice smoked out look. Now I'm going to apply mascara. So I'm using my L'Oreal Telescopic mascara. This makes your lashes so long. So I just apply a little bit because I am going to apply false lashes. So I just gently push sort of up on my bottom lashes. So I've applied my false lashes. They're more like an accent lash, so they're slightly winged on the outer edge and not much going on in the centre here, just so it gives you that like cat eye lifted look now that my lashes have dried. So I'm just taking my telescopic mascara and I'm just going to work this from the root upwards. This just helps to blend them in. Now I'm going to move on to eyebrows, so I'm taking my NYX pencil, and this is in the shade Espresso. So I'm just taking this spoolie end first, and I'm just going to brush through my brows just to pop them in place. I like my brows to be fluffy. I just start here first and I lightly just draw the line just to make everything even. And then I do little strokes outwards like this. This just creates more like hair-like strokes, so it looks quite natural. And then I just flick them up like that. And then the centre bit, I just sort of flick the brow pencil up. So just going back in with my spoolie end, I'm just going to brush that all through just to blend it all out and make it appear more natural. Now I'm taking my NYX Control Freak eyebrow gel, and this is like a clear mascara wand, and I just lightly go over my brows just to set them into place, and then this keeps them in place all day. So sometimes I find where I do my brows and I've brushed them up, the brow product actually gets on my foundation. So I'm just picking up that Primark concealer brush, what we used earlier, and it's probably still got a little bit of concealer left, so I'm just going to go over the top part of my brows and just blend that all in. And now moving on to lips, I'm taking my NYX SANDSTORM lip pencil. And this crayon is a lovely nude shade. I would say it's very similar to Charlotte Tilbury's iconic Nude. Now I'm taking my Physicians Formula, the Healthy Lip, and this is a velvet finish, and I have this in the shade All Natural Nude. Now I'm taking my Maybelline Lifter Gloss, and this is in the shade Stone. So I really love these glosses. They're new out and they taste amazing. Like, they don't taste horrible when you lick your lips together. So I just love the look they give, and they have such a lovely colour range. So basically the whole colour range. So I will do some samples of them and some swatches. This one I've used today is the shade Stone, so it's more like a nudie shade, and the colour pigment and the colour payoff they give is amazing. So I highly recommend the Maybelline Lifter Glosses if you haven't tried them already. To finish off, I'm just taking my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, and I'm just spraying that all over my face. This is just going to help the makeup set into place, and also it smells incredible, and I love the way it's just continuous. It's not a pumpy one, so it doesn't spit at you. It's just a fine mist. It refreshes the skin as well and your makeup. So this is the finished look, and I love the way it's turned out. It's very dramatic with the winged out smoky cat eye look, and then I've kept the base very neutral. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please remember to give it a big thumbs up, and also don't forget to press the subscribe button down below.